Hey, everybody, are you ready to run to the safety of truth and deny the permission for affliction?
Yes, let's run.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. We want to introduce ourselves to you. We are Charity and Eric, and we are Yahweh plus We teachings.
Mhm.
And we reside in the United States, and we have set up a YouTube channel to teach people about truth.
Yep.
And we love Yahweh, we love Yeshua, and we love Yah's breath, and we want to tell everybody about who they are. Our channel is dedicated to revealing the truth of Yahweh's word.
Yes.
And that might be the first time that you've ever heard those words. So let me just define those words just in case you haven't heard them before.
So we use the truth terms, and the truth meaning that it's closer to the reality of what the word means rather than the English word chosen in the Bible, because the English word chosen in the Bible is more general, a general statement, and it's a mistranslation in some cases. So for God, we use Yahweh, and Yahweh is the Godhead, known as the Godhead. It is the what people call the three in one. Yah's breath is what people call the Holy Spirit. And we don't use holy because we know the truth of the words. And the words are double-minded words because holy goes back to hell and some pretty awful words. So, and it also refers to awful thing. So we don't want to call our God, essentially, our Yahweh, an awful thing. So we use Yah's breath. Because if you look in Genesis, the first part of Genesis, it talks about the breath hovered above the water.
Mhm.
So we use Yah's breath.
Yah being and Yah being Father.
Yes, and Yah being Father. We also use Yeshua because that is his birth name. Yehoshua is his birth name. Yeshua is Yahweh, Yah, and Shua, which means deliverance. He's our deliverance. People call it salvation, but he's really rescuing and delivering us from the kingdom of darkness. So we use deliver because salvation, it doesn't fit exactly with the meaning of what the truth is that he is doing. Is that
That's a good explanation.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Yep, that's a really good explanation. And Hamashiach would be the Hebrew word for Christ, which is in the English Bible, it says Christ. And some people say that means anointed one, but we found that a better translation would be the chosen one.
Mhm.
So a lot of times you'll hear us say Yahshua, the chosen one, or Yahshua HaMashiach, which is in reference to the chosen one.
Yep.
We just want to give you the truth of what the words mean and the depth of what we've been studying to learn out those words, because the more truth we have, the better we operate.
Yes.
And that is true in almost everything in your life. If you think about the things that you've learned and done in your life, the more truth you have around a situation, the better you can get things to function.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a car, if you were to rewire the gas gauge and the oil pressure, you would not have a true reading of your fuel meter.
And it would be very easy to run out of gas
Yes. Yes, it would be.
and not know.
Yes.
This is why our channel exists, is because we want to teach people truth. And because ultimately Yeshua is the truth. Because Yeshua said, I am the truth and the way and the life in John chapter 14. So he's telling us from the very beginning that he is the truth. So we need the truth in order to get to anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can't if you're heading to a state in you're heading to Florida and you've got a map and Florida on the map says it's in New York, you're not going to get to the right location.
Right.
So that is why you need the truth. But when things are mislabeled or relabeled or not exactly translated perfectly,
Hmm.
you don't get the full truth or the full meaning, and it can steer you off course. And you got to remember the translated name for the devil in the Strongs is the traducer, and the traducer is a translator. So if he's the devil and the traducer, he's going to be mislabeling things to steer you off into the wrong direction.
Right, because he's translating it how he wants.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
exactly.
So ultimately, we want you to also understand we believe that Yahweh revealed his word to us. And through the Bible, Yahweh's word is revealed. The problem is not in in what Yahweh revealed. The problem is only in the translations,
Yes.
is because what was originally written, we don't have anymore.
Hmm.
And the Bible has been translated in many languages across the world and multiple times, translated upon translated upon translated. So we don't really know what those original words were. And I'm not trying to shun the Bible in some way. I'm just saying we need to dig deeper to get the truth. Because the translations that we have sometimes aren't full enough to really explain the truth to us in a way that we could really comprehend the fullness of the truth.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, biblical teachings really haven't done a good job of revealing truth.
Yeah, they haven't.
And Eric and I have both been believers for a very long time, most of our life.
Mhm.
And our passion for Yahweh has just grown. And we just want people to know truth because we love Yahweh that much that we want everybody to know who he is.
Yes.
And there is only one God for us to worship.
Hmm.
You know, to use that generic term, God, there are hundreds of millions of billions of gods in the world. And even to the point of saying there is no God.
Hmm.
In the book of Acts, chapter 17, one of the things that Paul said to the Athenians was that they had a statue to this unknown God.
Hmm.
And so when he came into the square for him to be able to talk to them about the gods, he told them, he said, let me tell you who this unknown God is. Like, you're so conscious of all the gods that you even made a statue for your unknown God.
Wow.
And so let me tell you who that unknown God is, right? And so then he proceeded to tell them about who Yeshua was and who Yahweh is, and so that they could come to know truth. Because this is the point of truth is when we have a lot of information, but we don't have truth, we can't get to the destination that we want to go to.
That's right.
So that is the whole point of our ministry is to bring truth to people, is to not continue to preach the same things that everybody else has preached for years and continue to get people off track because it's not going to the right destination because there's too much truth that's missing is we want to teach the truth. And when you learn the truth, you get the miraculous
Yes.
because the truth is Yeshua, and Yeshua lives inside you when you invite Yeshua to live in you. And with Yeshua comes Yah's breath. And when the fullness of Yahweh lives inside of you, you become the miraculous.
Yeah, that is so true.
And this, so when you've been in church long enough or listened to enough ministries long enough, you start hearing all these stories about how people are saying, well, how did you get that miracle to happen? And this person got that miracle to happen over here? And then did you hear about this going over here with this revival? Well, all of that happens when you find truth. And the truth is Yeshua. And there are so many things that get very complicated with teaching the ministry that people sometimes feel like, how could I ever learn enough truth to do that?
Yeah.
Well, our ministry is focused on the simplification of all of that, is because Yeshua said, be like unto the little children. If you can't break down the scripture down to the simplicity of it like a little child would, how are you ever going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
And so that's one of our is to simplify the message so that we can understand it. Because you can be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't explain your knowledge to anybody, what good did it do you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And when I was growing up, one of my favorite preachers was Ravi Zacharias.
Mhm.
And because when I was young, I thought, man, this man has so much knowledge in his head, and he could quote scriptures just off the top of his head. And one of my favorite sayings from him, from someone very intelligent that I felt like there was no way I could ever learn as much as he learned. One of the things he was known for saying was, if you can't bring all your knowledge down to the kitchen table talk, then it was worthless for you to learn it. And that was so valuable and so important to me because if you can't tell your children or the person on the street or the next generation what it is that you've learned about your God, then what was the point of you learning it?
That's true.
Because this message that we've been given is not a message only for ourselves. It's a message for us to share to the world. And so as a believer, you have one job. And that job is described in Matthew 28:18 and 19, and Mark 16, starting in verse 15. And many people call that the Great Commission. They take Matthew 28 and they say this is the Great Commission. And Mark 16 says essentially the same thing, just a little fuller. And this commission is actually really easy. And when we think about commission, we think that's such a big word, right? But it's your mission statement. Just like a business would have a mission statement, the commission is your business statement. What is it that you are going to do? What were you given as a job to do here on this earth?
Mhm.
And this job is actually really easy. One, go. Two, proclaim my name. That's it. It's really that easy. Yeshua said, if you love me, if you believe I was sent from the Father to you, then I want you to go tell everybody about me and what I've done, that I died and I rose again. And go, when he says go, he's saying go to the nations, go to every people group, every language in all of humanity and tell them about who I am.
Yeah.
Well, look, your job can't get any easier than that.
No, I can't.
Because because the people groups are your neighbors, the people at the grocery store that you go to, the shopping area, when you walk down the streets, your church, your school, your job. Those are all different people groups.
Yep.
The world should see you living a life that proclaims Yeshua. And so the reason I bring that up is because that's our theme right now. Is as we are moving into 2026, our theme this year is learn how to live every day and not die.
Yes.
And it's so powerful to us because so many teachings talk about how we have to crucify the flesh and you got to learn how to die every day, lay down your cross and follow after me. Well, look, many of those scriptures, one, are translated incorrectly, but two, they're missing a very vital point. And what they're missing is that the entirety of the kingdom works by love. So Galatians 5:6, it shows us at just the very end of the scripture is there's a whole discussion before this, but if you just look at Galatians 5:6, the end of the scripture says, but faith which worketh by love in the King James Version. Well, when you look at the words behind that, when you look at the Greek words in the Strong's Concordance, it actually says, on the contrary, truth itself that is active, efficient, through the channel of a devotional love, Yeshua, that compels you to give of yourself for Yahweh and others.
That's way better.
That's way better.
Yeah. And talking about, having a goal, when I was a child, I remember in church, I remembered we had to have faith to make, see miracles. And I never had enough faith. I could believe, hope, wish, whatever you want to call it, faith. I would always have faith. But as an adult, when we searched out what faith actually meant, it actually meant truth.
Hmm.
It was easy to see miracles because we had the truth. We had the
Hmm.
truth of what was actually happening.
Hmm.
So once you have truth, it's easy to believe.
Hmm.
It,
And that's what's really powerful in this scripture is it ties truth and it ties love together.
yes,
And that's supporting our theme that we have this year is to learn how to live because you can't live if you don't have truth and you don't have love.
that's right.
Because you love because Yahweh first loved you, not because you were capable of it on your own, right?
No.
And this is what we sometimes miss is in our carnal nature, in the body of your body, the flesh, this world that we live in, is always at enmity with Yahweh.
Hmm.
Because in this world, you have the decision choice for life or death. But in Yahweh's world works on life, not on death. It
Yep.
works on life.
Hmm.
Well, life and light are the same thing, and life and light are produce love. If there's
Yes, they
no,
do.
and they actually all kind of work like circular, is you can't really have one without the other.
Hmm.
When we think about the nature of things, we have human nature, we have animal nature, we have plant nature, we have the nature of this world, and they all can mean something a little bit different. And they all can have a mind of their own, essentially. But Yahweh's world has one mind. To use that term, Yahweh's world has one mind, life, light, and love. Everything that Yahweh does, his nature is love itself. And that word love seems so simple in the way it's said, but it's so much deeper than we can imagine. Is love is a devotional love that compels you to give of yourself for Yahweh and for others, which you see in the two commandments that Yeshua gives, right? In the book of Matthew, Yeshua says, there are only two commandments for you to be concerned about. And all the commandments are wrapped up in these two commandments. Is one, love Yahweh above everything else with your whole heart, mind, body, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you're loving your neighbor as yourself, you've got to love them the way Yeshua loved them. Well, Yeshua died for them, and then he rose again, right? So that's a pretty big example. And I'm not asking you to die for your neighbor. I'm just saying that's a pretty big example that he's giving us of how important love actually
Hmm.
is.
Yes.
Is love compels you into action for people. So our love for Yahweh compels us to do videos like this and to go on mission trips and to tell people about Yeshua
Hmm.
because that is where the truth actually comes from. So when we mix that love together with truth, we get amazing results.
Yep. We get light and life. Truth plus love equals light and life.
That's a really good way to say that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so that's our theme this year is to really focus on that. Learn how to live every day and not die.
Hmm.
And when you learn how to live, you learn how to love. You learn how to walk like Yeshua in that.
Hmm.
And because everything in Yahweh's world works by those three things: light, life, and love. So when you're focused on that above everything else, and you put your thoughts on the things above, not the things below, then you're going to walk in a different manner than everyone else.
Yes. Yes.
Because your focus is on the truth, on love, loving other people, loving Yahweh above everything else, and not the natural things of this world that would confine you or would tell you that something's going to die. Instead, you're thinking from a perspective of life, that
Hmm.
everything's alive and the life of Yahweh is flowing through you. So to start out with, make sure you got Yahweh on the inside of you, right?
Yeah, that's number one
Because
important thing.
it's pretty hard to live with this kind of life if you don't have Yahweh on the inside of you.
Yes.
And that is just as simple as everything else we've talked about is you just ask him to come live in you.
Hmm.
Is you tell him you believe in him. I believe that you exist. I know you exist. The truth is you exist. And I'm going to choose to fully trust you. And this word fully trust is actually something that we struggle with a lot as people.
Yes, we do.
Is we don't fully trust pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's true. We've got a good story for that too.
Yes, we do. We do.
And it's actually from you guys.
Exactly. It's like the perfect lead in, right?
Yes, it is.
Fully trusting is something we have to train ourselves to do
Yes. Hmm.
because the world doesn't train us to trust.
No, it does the opposite.
Exactly.
Hmm.
The world does not train us to trust, it trains us to be questioning everything.
Yes. Hmm.
And not too long ago, Yahweh told me doubt is the enemy of your mind.
Hmm.
And so we made a little video that said doubt is the enemy of your mind. Because when you start questioning things, you become like the waves of the sea, tossed to and fro, back and forth. Because you are wondering whether something will work or not work, whether it's true or not true, right?
Yep.
Your pastor Russell gave us a wonderful story, and
Yes.
hopefully he shared this with y'all so that I'm not putting him on the spot too much. But we love this story because in our own desire to worship Yahweh, we sometimes get a little too zealous in one area or another, and it's very easy for you to get off track, right?
Yes.
And we
Mhm.
do it too. And so we kind of got off track a little bit, to throw our own self under the bus, right?
The
We
bus.
we we kind of got off track a little bit and we started questioning these things and saying, well, is there something more I need to learn? Do I need more truth? Do I have to do something else, right? And so that creates doubt.
Yes, it does.
And so Pastor Russell, he called us not a few days ago, and he told us this spectacular story of how he was in a vehicle with his wife and his son and some other pastors, and they had a driver. They had a Muslim driver that was taking them somewhere, and the engine of the vehicle died. And they pull off to the side of the road, and all the pastors are saying how they need a mechanic, and it's not going to work anymore, and they need a mechanic. So they're all speaking death. They're
Yes.
not speaking
They're not
life.
speaking life. They're not saying, "Oh, Yahweh can fix it."
And the driver says, and mind you, what Pastor Russell told us was that he was a Muslim,
Yeah.
right? So he didn't believe in Yahweh. And so he tells them, well, why don't you pray for the vehicle that it will start? Pray for the engine,
That makes sense. I mean, he'd
right?
been with them, so he's seen them pray for people. So why not do what they do normally? Pray for somebody or
Exactly.
something.
Exactly. And the pastors were saying, oh no, Yeshua doesn't work that way. Yahweh doesn't work that way on a vehicle, right? And Pastor Russell's wife says, well, yeah, we should pray for the vehicle. And so they all go off and do their thing, and she's left with the driver, and they open the hood and they pray for that engine to start. And they apologize to Yeshua for doubting that he could do it and asking if he would start the engine for them.
Yep.
And I might be missing parts of the story, but this is what I gleaned out of the translation to me. and and the engine started. And with an unbeliever and the pastor's wife. They had the truth that Yeshua could do it, and they had the fully trusting in him that he would do it
That's right.
because that's his character, and that's
That's
all
all
you
it took.
need.
All it took. That's all they needed
That's all you need.
was just trusting in Yeshua
Mm-hmm.
and knowing with the truth that he does things for us like
Mm-hmm.
that. Amazing things.
And that's amazing because when they took the car to the mechanic to find out if there was something else wrong with it, the mechanic said, "What do you want me to do? There's nothing wrong." It's great. It's such a spectacular story. Is
Mhm.
we can't get into doubt and think, well, maybe Yahweh can't do this. Maybe Yeshua's name doesn't work as much as we thought it did. Maybe there's something else we need to do, or we need to learn something else, or try another avenue. All of those maybes and all of those questions take us away from the truth. They take us away from the character of Yahweh and who Yahweh said he is. And we got to put all that stuff down and say, Yahweh, we trust you. Because of what Yeshua did, we trust you. We love you and tell us what to do.
Yep.
We trust that you can do this, you will take care of it, and we will see the miraculous.
Yeah. It says, I can do all things through the chosen one who strengthens me.
Hmm.
It doesn't say I can do some things or a few things, or maybe once in a while I can get something done. No, it says all,
Hmm.
completely all
Hmm.
things.
And Yeshua said, all things are possible to the one who will fully trust me.
Yes, that's
Hmm.
right.
So if you fully trust Yeshua, everything is possible to you.
That's right. It is.
And everything is within the realm of light because the realm of light gets on the inside of you when you invite Yeshua into you. So you get Yahweh, Yah's breath, Yeshua, Yah himself, and the entirety of the realm of light living on the inside of you. Look, if you ain't got power, it's because you don't know you have power. It's
Yep.
not because it don't exist.
Mm,
And there's my little southern accent for you. It exists. All the power exists on the inside of you. You're just not aware of that power.
right.
It's like trying to drive a car and forgetting to turn on the engine.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere unless you turn the power on.
No, it doesn't go anywhere if you don't turn the power on.
And a lot of times we think, well, what do I got to do to turn the power on? What's the switch? And, you know, like I've told this example a few times is it's kind of like being in a dark room where it's so pitch black you can't see anything else. You know, somewhere in the room is a wall, and on the wall is a light switch. And the light switch will turn on the lights for you. And then you could see where you were going. But it's so dark you can't even find the wall.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, the switch is Yeshua. And he is the road. He is the truth. He says, I am the truth and the life and the way, and that way is the road. And when we find Yeshua, we find our way because we turn on the light, because he is that light. Yeshua is the entirety of the life and light of the kingdom. And you won't need any other lamp for your pathway because he is that light.
Yes.
And when we put our trust in him, when we lean on him, he shows us that clear pathway.
Hmm.
So your focus should be on the fact that all you need is Yeshua. All these other things are coming because of Yeshua. The the miraculous things are a result of the fact that you got God Himself on the inside of you. Right?
Essentially, if you have him on inside of you, you are him on this earth.
Yes. And He said, as I am, so are you on this earth.
Yes.
And so if we understand what that means, it doesn't mean we're taking His place.
No.
It means we're acting in His character, in His authority, and in His ability.
He gave us dominion for this
Hmm.
realm, and with him inside of us, we have authority over heaven and earth.
Hmm.
So there's nothing that we can't do.
Exactly. And so when you take you and you take Yeshua and you combine them together, you become a new creation.
Yes.
You become a new species of being that never existed before.
Hmm.
And that is a spectacular thing because in Romans, it says when you become this new creature, you get to wake up to the newness of life. So
Yep.
now you have a whole new life that you get to experience because you became a new creature. And in that, as a new creature, you get to combine Yahweh's realm and this realm together in one.
Yes.
And so you know how we were talking about the different kind of natures that there are, like human nature and plant nature and animal nature and the nature of this world, right? In our world that we are used to, you have to do something to get it fixed. So in that example of the car, is you would have to take the car to a mechanic and the mechanic would have to wrench on the engine to fix it,
Yep.
right? In Yahweh's world, everything is created by words. You speak it into existence. So because light and life and love are in Yahweh, everything is produced by speaking. So if we think about this new nature and we put the two together, then we have something physical in this world, like a car that was made, it was created, And then we have Yahweh's word that lives on the inside of us. So when we speak Yahweh's word over that physical thing, we actually produce life in that physical thing.
Hmm.
And then we can watch it come alive. So those are our one, two, threes for this come alive kind of session for you is we make something, number one. We speak life into it, number two. And then number three, we watch it come alive. And one of the most important things we have to remember is Exodus 14, 13, and 14.
Yeah, that's pretty important. Shut up, watch and see the deliverance of our Yahweh.
Hmm.
For the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again.
Hmm. Because this is one of the major reasons why people don't get results that they expect to get is they speak against it.
Yes. How many times have you been with a friend and he's saying, "Oh, that thing is it's going bad, it's terrible,
Hmm.
this and that and the other thing." He's not saying this is the truth of the situation that Yahweh made it right. No, he's saying using his authority on this earth to condemn it and talk bad about it. And you
Hmm.
see that a lot of times when people get sick. They say, "Oh, I've got this. I got this what the doctor told me." But if you understand that there is no such thing as sickness and disease, you know the truth because it's all affliction of the devil, of the adversary. You
Hmm.
know that you just have to tell that demon to go, and then
Hmm.
you won't be sick anymore.
Hmm. And that's how we live.
Hmm.
That's how we live. So when we're talking about learning how to live every day, this is how we live, is we stop speaking those things, those evil things into the things that are created.
Yes.
And we speak Yahweh's life into the things that are created.
Yes.
And then all the things that we're speaking about are coming alive.
Yes. And it,
Whether that's people or vehicles or your animals or your plants,
yes.
anything.
Yeah. And in the example of the testimony we spoke today, some people were saying that Yahweh doesn't do fix mechanical things or
Hmm.
physical things. And there was others that were saying, yes, he does.
Hmm.
So which is the truth?
Hmm.
The truth is that Yahweh does everything.
Hmm.
Everything that we can imagine, everything we say,
Hmm.
it is done through us. The
Hmm.
truth is that Yahweh will do anything we ask.
Hmm.
We just have to believe and we have to trust in him, fully trust that he is capable of doing it and will do it for us because he
Hmm.
loves us.
Hmm. Because he loves us, right?
Yes.
And that is such a spectacular statement because there's a verse that says, because his love is so great for us, that he will do it for us just so that our cheerfulness will be made full.
Hmm.
Right? Like he does it just to make you smile.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's essentially what that verse is saying is he does these things because it makes you happy, because it makes you smile, it makes you excited, right? Because Yahweh loves you so much. Yahweh wanted to do everything possible that you could live a good life.
Yep.
His desire for you, his choice for your life is that you prosper and have a good life. That you're filled full of his life. Well, you can't prosper if you're sick. You can't prosper if there's a demon flogging you. You can't prosper if you can't afford to pay your rent. You can't prosper if your vehicle dies and you can't get anywhere, right?
Yep.
These are all things that are of the enemy, of the adversary that tells you about death in this world. Where Yahweh's world says everything's about life.
Mhm.
And like Deuteronomy 28, the first part of Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 through 14, tell us about the life that Yahweh gives us for just believing in him.
Hmm.
And so it says, for those who will follow my commandments in Deuteronomy 28. Well, that's Old Covenant, right? So they had a whole lot of commandments and laws in the Old Covenant, but in the New Covenant, you only got two.
Yeah. Two is a lot easier than 10.
Whole lot easier, right? You only got two, and he says in the new covenant, you are going to have exceedingly abundantly beyond what was in the old covenant.
Yes.
So Deuteronomy 28 gives us an example of what kind of things Yahweh is talking about. And just in the old covenant, he's saying you're never going to run out of money. Your animals will never be barren. Your you will never be barren. You will always be fruitful and multiply. Um, you'll be the head and not the tail. You'll be the first and not the last, right? You'll be protected in everything you do. And I'm just trying to like short summarize this, right?
Hmm.
Is there's all these things that he's saying your life will be completely prosperous.
Yes. Yep.
And in the new covenant, he says, I'll give you exceedingly abundantly beyond what you could think of or imagine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, look, that means everything in your life.
That's right. Everything.
So speak life into everything.
Hmm.
And don't judge things based on what you see with your eyes. Base Judge things based on what the truth is. Because this is where we fail, where doubt comes in, is because we look at the Bible and it says one thing, and then we look at our life and it says something else. Well, there's an adversary trying to tell you something different than what the Bible says.
Hmm.
And in order to overcome the adversary, you have to have the truth.
Yep.
So look at the truth because the truth will overcome the adversary. You speak truth only all the time, and the adversary becomes under your feet.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't always see it immediately. Remember, Moses stood in the water all night long, watching the waves separate before they could walk through on dry ground.
Hmm.
So he stood all night and then walked through on dry ground. So you have to stand on the truth of what Yeshua said, and then you will walk through on dry ground.
That's
And
right.
there are other people involved in situations. So, one of the things I told my daughter is when she would go through different struggles, that sometimes she would say, Mom, I prayed and I asked and I stood on this truth. How come I haven't seen it yet? And I told her, I said, regardless of when you see it, you always have to stand on the truth.
Hmm.
And you have to remember there's other people involved and they have their own free will. So this is why find a buddy and talk truth, right?
Yeah.
Is because people who don't know truth are going to speak all kinds of negative things.
Hmm.
And their free will may be to do something different than what Yahweh's will is. And so they might be saying all the negative things that they're seeing or experiencing, and they're not speaking truth over a situation. Well, that's causing a conflict in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, you're basically giving permission for affliction.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you speak negatively, you're telling the devils and the demon angels that it's your free range. You're
Mm-hmm.
telling them what to do to you, and they're taking advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, but they don't have ultimate power.
Yes.
So their opinion is not the final opinion. A believer in Yeshua, someone who actually believes in Yeshua and puts fully their trust in Yeshua, you have all the power, exceedingly above everything else. It says you are seated far above all principalities and powers and evil, wicked things of this world. Everything else is under your feet.
So use your words wisely and don't give them permission for the affliction.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when two or more agree on a thing, it's established
Yep,
in Yahweh's world and your world.
that's right.
Yes. And so that's so powerful because when you're looking at something and you feel like it's not working out the way you want, get somebody who believes the same thing as you and declare that truth, and you will see the truth.
Yes,
Because just like in the story we told, the pastor's wife and the vehicle driver agreed that Yahweh could start the engine.
yes, they did.
And one of them was a believer and one wasn't. But they believed that Yahweh could start the engine. Whoever the one true God is, the unknown God to the Muslim believer, but the known God to the pastor's wife, could start that engine.
Yes, that's right.
And, what Yahweh did in that moment is he declared himself true.
Hmm.
Is because Yahweh has to confirm his own word. And see, this is where sometimes we mess things up and we think we have to confirm the word. You don't have to confirm anything. Mark 16 Verses 15 through 20 talk about the signs that will follow you when you become a believer.
Hmm.
But a lot of times we miss verse 20 because verse 20 says that believers, they went out and they started proclaiming the truth everywhere they went, but Yahweh went with them confirming the word.
Wow.
And so that's the thing that we miss is that last sentence. Yahweh confirms the word.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
have to confirm the word. Yahweh does it all by himself.
Wow, that's incredible.
And he's confirming it through you because you spoke the word and then he does something miraculous to prove to the people that, yeah, that's me.
That's exactly what happened here.
Yep.
Yep. They spoke the word and Yahweh confirmed it with a running vehicle.
Mm-hmm. And that is spectacular. And the reason we're talking about this story is because there's so many amazing points to this story that it might kind of seem like it's a humbling story for some people, like the pastors who didn't believe, right? But we all get into that position. That's why it's such a great story to talk about because we all fall short at one point or another in our life. And we were doing the exact same thing,
Yes, we
and
were.
which is why we talk about it is because by hearing that story, the belief of the two that prayed for the engine helped our belief,
Yes, it did.
right?
Hmm.
Because it reminded us that we were not fully trusting Yeshua to do the work.
Hmm.
We thought we had to confirm it ourselves by getting more truth. Well, no, we didn't have to confirm it. We had to believe
Yep,
Yeshua said
yep,
it.
yep. That's right. That's right.
We had to trust that he said it and put our trust in that and not anything else.
Mm,
Because when you put your trust in something else, you're exalting that other thing above Yahweh's name.
that's right.
And when you put something else above Yahweh's name, you're not going to get what Yahweh does. So we need these reminders, right? And so this kind of a long like discussion about belief and fully trusting in Yeshua. But the reason I want to bring this out is because the entirety of the kingdom works when you get truth and love mixed together.
Yes, that's
So
so true.
first we're talking about truth, right? So that's what this discussion has been about is about truth. Because when you understand who the truth is, then when you apply love next, you will get anything you want.
Yeah, that's right. And it's very easy. It's really easy to pick on the medical industry because the hospitality industry, what we call the medical industry, which is actually witchcraft. If you look at the Strong's number G 5331 and 5332 are pharmakia and sorcery and magic, by extension, a magician. And it is also a poisoner or pharmacist. So Yahweh showed us that all sickness and disease goes back to affliction. And we found this through the Strongs with the lady that was had the issue of blood. She was being flogged, the word flogged for the affliction. And we were like, well, flogging, that's whipping. Who would be whipping this lady? And Yahweh showed us that it was the demons that were flogging the lady because it went back to Roman soldier flogging this lady, but there's nobody flogging the lady. So this lady had been to many, many doctors and probably temples worshiping other gods, and she had nowhere else to go. So she went to Yeshua, and Yeshua delivered her. When she touched his hem of his garment, the demon left because Yeshua was the truth.
Mhm.
So now that we know that all affliction is from the devil, we have the truth. So now instead of going to get medicine or going to get a pill or anything like that, you go to Yeshua and you declare his truth and command the demon to leave,
Mhm.
and the affliction goes.
Mhm.
And that's the key. You have the truth. So you know how to use the authority of Yeshua to get rid of the demon, to
Mhm.
get rid of the affliction.
And that's a good point because Yeshua is your deliverer.
Yes, he
Because
is.
Yahshua means Yah's deliverer.
Mm-hmm.
So he delivers you out of all affliction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the book of Acts that it says that all oppression is of the devil
Yes.
and the adversary, the traducer. All of that oppression is coming from the evil one.
Hmm.
And but the problem that we have many times is we're double-minded because we think we need to do something like go to a doctor and or go to a mechanic or something physical we think we need to do when what we first need to do is repent of our unbelief and then ask for help. Right?
That's right.
We need to take advice from pastor's wife and we need to apologize for our own unbelief and our doubt and say, Yahweh, forgive me for not believing in you, and then ask for help
Mm,
because you can't do anything without Yahweh's help.
you can't.
Your life and your light is destined to die if it's not for Yahweh.
Mm,
But with Yahweh, you have the fullness of life on the inside of you. So, what we have to do is to settle that doubt issue of who is the truth and
mhm.
what is his character. Yeshua is the truth, and his character is light, life, and love. And so, so we'll end the first session with this is the first session we're talking about truth. And so we'll end this with this is truth is Yeshua.
Yes. So run to the safety of truth because Yeshua has delivered us. And it says that Yeshua has instantly translated us to the kingdom of light. That means
Yes.
he's taken us out of a tyrannical rule of darkness and placed us in the kingdom of light.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that is knowing that we can make every affliction go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. And we'll pick up there with the next session.
All right. Bye-bye.
2 hours later.
Okay, welcome back to session 2.
Mm,
And so in the first session, we talked about truth, right? And what was it that you said? It came up with a great new
Oh,
line.
truth plus love equals light and life.
And that is such a great line. And it's
Hmm.
truth plus love equals light and life.
Yep.
And that's the theme that we are pushing on so much is how do we learn how to live? Well, we learn how to live with truth and love.
Hmm.
This morning, well, I was kind of thinking about, well, what is it that we're going to talk about with you all in this conference is how do we express this theme of love in such a way where people can really understand the depth of love? Because the word love is such a little word with a whole lot of meaning.
Yeah, it is.
And Yahweh's love is this deep, devotional, compassionate kind of love that most of us have never experienced in our life. And so I was trying to think about what is a good way to express this. And Yahweh said to me this morning, through Yah's breath, said, I love you so much that I'll tell you anything you want to know, no matter what you do with it. And so I was thinking about that. I love you so much that I'll tell you anything you want to know, no matter what you do with it. Meaning that regardless of what you do with the information, your actions or your works or your deeds is not defining whether or not Yahweh is going to tell you. Most of the time, we think from this perspective of I have to do something to get something. But Yahweh's love does not function that way. Yahweh's love is what compelled Yahweh to give himself for us. You don't actually have to do anything to get Yahweh's love because it's already been poured out to you. And so if you have to add anything to what Yeshua did for you to receive your deliverance, then you are actually putting Yeshua's sacrifice to none effect, which means you're discounting his sacrifice. If you're saying, I have to do X, I have to fulfill the law in order to get Yeshua to love me. I
Yeah.
have to fulfill the law to get deliverance. I have
Hmm.
to fulfill the law to get prosperity. I have to fulfill the law to get love. That is saying you have to have an action before Yahweh can love you.
That sounds like works.
It is works. We do this many times in the new covenant because it's what we're used to in the old covenant. So the old covenant had a lot of laws, a lot of rules, and a lot of regulations, where the new covenant actually brings us into freedom.
Yes. I don't think the Israelites, the king of Jacob, realized this because they added 600 additional laws to the 10 that Yahweh created.
That they couldn't even do
That they
anyways.
couldn't do that they can maybe do 30 is from what I've heard. And now they got 600 that they can't even do. So, you know, that is they're focusing on the law so much that they even created additional laws, which
Hmm.
even makes it harder. The point of the law was to let us know that we can't do this without Yeshua and Yah's breath in us. There, it's impossible. And there's a scripture that explains that you cannot complete the law without Yah's breath living in you.
Hmm. A lot of scriptures in the new covenant actually declare that to
Oh,
be true. We are incapable of fulfilling the law. And Yeshua himself said to the Pharisees, he said that you are those who teach about the law, and yet you're actually teaching people to be worse sinners than you are
yeah, that's pretty bad.
because you can't do it. And so you're trying to teach people to do something that you can't even do yourself.
Yeah, and the Pharisees were running around, look how good I am. Look, I pray 10 times a day.
Hmm.
I do this. I sacrifice even the herbs in my garden.
Hmm.
And yet, in private, they were not doing the law.
Hmm.
And they didn't love Yeshua.
Because that was the problem.
Oh, yeah.
That was the problem is because they didn't have the love in their heart.
No, they didn't have the love for Yahweh, actually, not Yeshua. But they didn't have the love for Yahweh because they were so focused on the works and the
Right.
law and doing the job of what was right. Pride set in. They became prideful because they were showing all the works that they were doing
Hmm.
to make it to heaven,
Hmm.
essentially.
And your works will never get you there.
No, they
Which
won't.
is what Yeshua was saying when he said, you say in your law, don't commit murder. But I'm telling you that if you've even thought an evil thing about another person, you've already murdered them in your own head.
Yeah, that's pretty important.
Right? And if you've broken one law, you've broken all of them.
Then I've broken them all many times, and there's no way around it. I mean, without Yah's breath in me, I can't do it. There's no way.
And that's why we need love.
Hmm.
That's the whole reason why we need love, is because the love of Yahweh has this compassion for us that says that I'm going to love you no matter what you do with what I give you. I love you no matter what you do with anything I tell you, anything I give you, anything that is around you, even no matter what you do with Yeshua's sacrifice. And this is a powerful thing, is even if you discount Yeshua's sacrifice, I'm still going to love you.
Wow. Wow.
That's how deep Yahweh's love is. Is it's so much deeper than even a parent's love for their children. And a parent would die for their children, right? And that's the example that Yahweh gives us, is that as a parent of us, Yahweh died for us. It gave of himself for us, right? And that is such a challenging thing for us to think about in the human flesh, is dying for someone else. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to die like Yeshua died for us because he already paid that price. And so when we continue to create laws for ourselves and we don't operate in love, we're saying the sacrifice Yeshua gave wasn't enough for us to get into the realm of light, and we have to do something to get into the realm of light. Well, that's insulting.
Yeah. There's nothing I can do to get into the realm of light without Yeshua.
No, we
No way.
can't. We absolutely cannot get into the realm of light without Yeshua because we can't fulfill the law. And he already fulfilled it, so why would you want to?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Well, he fulfilled it. He made the way. His way is the road of love.
Yes.
So he showed us that he is the truth and his way is the way of love, which he showed us through the two commandments that he gave us. He said, love Yahweh above all else with your whole heart, mind, body, and soul.
Yes, and that's important because when you love Yahweh, you want to do the right thing.
Hmm.
You want to follow the laws. It's
Hmm.
not out of, you would have to. No, it's you've got the love inside of you and you love people. So you want to show that love. You want to show Yahweh's love. So you will
Mhm.
actually do the laws.
You will.
Hmm.
You will. You will do Yahweh's laws when you love the way Yahweh loves. Because you love Yahweh, and when you love Yahweh first with everything that you are, so that you live and move and have the entirety of your being in Yahweh, then the second command of love your neighbor as yourself becomes super easy.
Yeah, it does.
It becomes so easy because you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about Yahweh. You're not even thinking about the person. You're thinking about Yahweh. Let me give you a super spectacular story that makes me look terrible, but it's pretty funny. It shows an example of what I'm trying to say. So I came home from a mission trip and Yahweh was talking to me one day and he says to me, "Do you love me?" And as soon as he said, "Do you love me?" the first thing that popped into my head was from John 21, where Yeshua says to Peter, "Peter, do you love me?" And I thought, oh, no, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because Peter got the question wrong. He had to be asked the question 3 times.
Hmm.
So as soon as the question came in, I knew I was in trouble. And I'm like, well, I'll answer the way Peter said. The same thing Peter said. You know, of course I love you. I have a fondness for you.
You knew his word well enough to answer like Peter did. That's impressive.
I knew that in that moment that whatever Yeshua was going to correct me on was because I wasn't behaving in the way Yeshua answered that question,
Mm.
right? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be humble. I'll eat my humble pie and I will find out what I'm doing wrong. And please tell me the truth. The reason I'm going to tell this story is because when we are willing to submit ourselves to Yahweh, then we can become just like Yeshua. Because Yeshua submitted himself to the truth of Yahweh completely, even to the point of death. That is why he was able to overcome the enemy,
Mhm.
is because he submitted himself to truth and love 100%. And so then the next question was, well, do you adore me? And I went, well, you know I adore you. Of course I adore you. You're like the only one I ever talk to. I talk to Yeshua all the time. So how could I not adore you? So then he says to me, because there's got to be 3 questions, right? And all 3 questions were asked 2 different ways. So then he says, "Do you love people?" And I went, "Oh,
Oh
oh
no.
no, oh no." And this story was a couple years ago, so I've grown a lot since then. So he says, "Do you love people?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm trying really hard to love them." That was my answer. I'm trying really hard to love them.
Yeah, you can't lie to gods. You got to tell them the truth.
You have to tell Yahweh the truth because he already knows the truth
Yeah,
anyways.
exactly.
So you might as well just get it over with.
Hmm.
Then he says, "Do you adore them? Do you adore people?" And I went, "Oh no, I really don't actually adore people." Because to adore means to have this like feeling in you of compassion and respect and reverence for people, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, no, the only person I revere is you. So if Yeshua is the only person I revere, how can I revere people? I That didn't connect in my brain. I was like, I don't know how to make that connect
Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't know how I could revere people when Yahweh is the one that I revere. I lift him above everything
Yeah.
else, right? I had to honestly admit, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people I don't really like. I'm trying really hard to love them because you said love everybody, but there's some things that people do that are not very nice. So it's hard to like them.
That is true. It is.
And so then he asked me a third question. He said, "Do you revere me? Do you respect me?" I said, "Well, of course." And then he said, well, do you revere and respect people? And I was like, nope, not at all. Nope. I have to honestly say nope. Because to hold that kind of reverence and respect for people, you have to trust them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And most people you cannot trust.
Hmm.
And I think most people could agree with this statement that I'm making is you've encountered many people in your life that they said they'd do something and they didn't do it. And so you learn not to trust people.
Yep.
So it's pretty hard to revere them if you can't trust them,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Well, so I went on a dictionary hunt then. I'm like, well, I better figure out what these words mean because there's something really important here I have to learn, right? And so as I was looking through the dictionary and learning the definitions of the words, then I also went back to the scripture and read all the scriptures about love. And Yeshua said to me, see, this is the point you're missing, is because it's not about all the definitions and all these different words. What you missed was what I did. I put myself in all the people.
Mm.
I paid the price for all the people. So when Yahweh looks at me, Yeshua, he looks at me for all of the estimation of who I am. Everything I've done, everything I've completed. He looks at me and he reveres me because of the fullness of who I am and what I've done. Well, I took all of what I am and I put it on the people. And I paid that price for all humanity. And when I paid that price for humanity, now Yahweh looks at the people as if they're me. So, what I want you to learn from this is I want you to look at the people as if I'm in them, as if they're me. Because what I did was I put myself and all the fullness of who I am in humanity, in all of people. And this is the book of Colossians. And the fullness of the Godhead was bodily inside Yeshua. And Yeshua put himself bodily inside those who would believe. And so I was like, wow, that's so powerful, right? We have to look at people as if they're Yeshua himself.
Wow.
And then I said, but what about those who don't believe in you? And he said, just because at the moment they haven't declared their belief in me doesn't mean I didn't pay for them too.
That's true. Yeah. That's powerful.
Right?
Hmm.
And so he was telling me his love was so complete that even if they would deny him, he still paid the price for them.
Hmm.
So we have to learn to look at people with those kind of eyes of love. We have to look at people, all people, from this perspective of Yahweh's love, looking from Yahweh's eyes down to people. Not our eyes to Yahweh, but
Hmm.
Yahweh's eyes to us. And Yahweh says, Yeshua paid the price for you. And now I'm going to look at you with all the fullness, all the estimation of who Yeshua is on the inside of you.
Wow. That gives me a different perspective when I look at people that I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now you're not looking at their actions.
Mm-mm.
You are not looking at the deeds of the people. You're looking at the action of Yeshua. You're looking at the cost Yeshua paid.
Mm.
You're looking at the life and the truth and the love of Yeshua, and you're taking that and you're putting it on the people.
Wow. That gives you a whole different perspective because now you have a duty to love others,
Mm-hmm.
no matter who they are or where they are.
And you have a compelling, right?
Hmm.
You have a duty, and then you also have a compelling.
Hmm.
Because if you truly revere Yahweh the way you say you do, if you truly revere Yeshua the way you say you do, then you have to look at people with that same love, that same revering, that same adoring.
Hmm.
Because as you love people, you are loving Yeshua.
That's right. Wow.
And the word adore actually kind of means to worship. It's another way of saying worship. So when you're adoring people, you're actually worshiping Yahweh.
Wow.
And that, when I learned that truth, That was actually a little bit hard for me because I was like, well, all my worship has to go to Yeshua, not to anyone else. I want Yeshua. That's it, right? But what I learned through this process was that as we love people and we give of ourselves for other people, that is an offering of worship to Yahweh.
Yeah, because it says in the Bible that if you've done unto these, you've done unto me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me.
Yep.
The Pharisees were asking in that story, they were saying, when did we see you naked and not clothe you? When did we see you thirsty and not give you a drink? And that was Yeshua's response is, whatever you've done unto the least of these, you've done unto me. And he says, pure and perfect worship is to take care of the orphans and the widows. Pure and perfect worship is to take care of the orphans and the widows.
Mm.
And so everything that we are doing for other people is actually offering our worship of love back to Yahweh, which is why Yeshua said these are the only two commands you have to know and understand, is because love is that powerful. Love covers a multitude of sins. Love covers a multitude of lies, right? And Galatians 5:22 says the fruit of Yah's breath is love, cheerfulness, safety, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, truth, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. See, a lot of times when people read this, they think it's commas after each and every word, but it's not actually. The fruit of Yah's breath is love. And then all the other things after that are the characteristics of love. And this is what we miss sometimes is we think that we have to get each of these individual things in our life. No, you have to get one thing in your life. Love. Because love will produce these different aspects. Love will be cheerful. Love will suffer long. Love will be gentle. Love will be good. Love will have truth. Love will be kind, right?
Mhm.
Love provides safety, humility, or meekness. And temperance is self-control. So all of these things come with love. And it ends with, in verse 23, it says, against such there is no law. So, which means that there's no law that can outdo love.
No.
Love is above every other law. Yahweh says, you love because I first loved you. He's not saying you love because there's a law. He's saying, I put my love inside you.
Mm.
And that's what makes you love.
Yeah.
The light that I gave you is what makes you love.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you actually love people, there's no need for the law. Because
Hmm.
if you love people, you will not hurt them, you will not
Hmm.
afflict them, you will not harm them. You will
Hmm.
wish and want the best for them.
Hmm.
And the lawless are the people that don't have that love or don't know that love. And
Hmm.
that's why they need the laws. It's
Hmm.
because people don't love one another.
Hmm. Right. So the more you build your relationship with Yeshua, the more you're going to love. And
Yes.
the more you love, the more you're going to build your relationship with Yeshua. It's a circle.
Hmm.
It feeds itself.
Hmm.
Is the more you love, the more you build relationship. The more you build relationship, the more you love. Back and forth. It continues. The more truth you have, the more you can love. The more you love, the more truth you have.
Yep.
The more truth and love that you have, the more light and life that you have. Because as your truth builds, you're going to speak life and light into everything. And your whole life changes. This is what we want you to know is that your whole life changes when you speak in truth and in love.
And that is the definition of sovereignty, because when you are sovereign, as Yahweh is sovereign, you are a sovereign being. You won't harm people because you love them. So that way you are sovereign, meaning that you will not harm anybody. And if you do accidentally harm somebody, you will take care of it without the law, without the justice system. And that's
Mhm.
one of the things about being believers is we are sovereign. So we need to act as though and take care of things without the law because we are sovereign.
Mhm.
We are under the law of love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so powerful because love compels us to do it.
Yes.
A law is not compelling us to do it.
No.
Love is compelling us to do it.
Mm.
And we're no longer confined nor defined by the evil anymore. We got transferred out of the kingdom of darkness
Yeah.
and into the realm of light. And so, because that happened, and that's in the book of Colossians, because that happened, then we should not be looking at things from the eyes of a legal perspective or a lawful perspective. We should be looking at things from the eyes of love.
Yes.
And in the eyes of love, then we have a whole new way of looking at things and at people and the way we operate. And so, if you look at 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about love. It's a whole chapter about love.
Mhm.
And it's talking to people to help them understand how powerful love actually is. Is there is no greater thing than love itself. And the whole reason Yeshua even came to die for us in the first place is because of love. And
Mhm.
look, I have traveled to so many countries and talked to so many people from many different belief systems. And the one thing that I have learned that seems to be non-specific to any ethnicity or nationality is there is no other religion that teaches a God who loves you.
Yeah. That is so true.
Christianity is the only religion that teaches of a God who loves you. Every other religion teaches about how the people must sacrifice for the God.
That's right.
Yeshua is the only one who said, I am the God who sacrifices for you.
That's true.
Hmm.
I mean, you think about the old Baal and Baal and all those idols and or gods of the Bible. The people sacrificed themselves to this god. They would sacrifice their children. They would sacrifice food, pigs, whatever else they would sacrifice.
Hmm.
So the God was not coming here and sacrificing himself.
Right.
They were giving life to that God with their sacrifice.
Right. And Yeshua says, I was with Yahweh in the beginning. So look at John 1 1. And he says, I was with Yahweh in the beginning, and I was Yahweh. And he came to sacrifice himself for us. So the word made flesh for us, right? Yeshua is Yahweh himself giving his life for us.
Mm.
And look, there's no other God I would rather serve than the one who would die for me.
Yeah,
Like we got to think about the practicality of what some of these words mean so that we don't keep the words so high up that we can't comprehend them.
yeah,
Get them down to kitchen table talk, right?
yep,
Is your God loves you so much, he died for you.
yeah. He sacrificed himself for you, and you don't have to sacrifice anything for him.
Yep. You just have to love him back.
Yes, that is amazing.
That's all you got to do,
That's a God I want to serve.
right?
One that sacrificed himself to you. You are the greatest possession to him.
Hmm.
We don't have to sacrifice ourselves for him. He did the sacrificing for us.
Hmm.
That's pretty powerful.
That's very powerful. So let's end with this. There's two things that I want to share with you before we close this out. And because I've been talking to Yahweh about love and this perspective of love that we need to get on the inside of us so that we can really internalize it, right? And when you think about a mother's love and a father's love, they're different. They're both very intense love, but they think a little bit different and
Hmm.
they express themselves in a different way. So, for the sake of this, think about a mother's love
Hmm.
because what Yeshua kind of showed us was the way the mother loves. If you're a mom, you know how much you want to just wrap your children in your arms and hold them in tight and protect them from everything that could hurt them, right? So when you look at the old covenant, you kind of see the father's love, and when you look at the new covenant, you kind of see the mother's love. And
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. I like that.
and I'm not don't get into a whole discussion about gender because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to draw attention to the different types of love. So Yah's breath said to me, um, think about what love does, and which is very similar to 1 Corinthians 13, but taking it to another level, right? So love sets you free to be all of you, of who you are, and exactly who you are, right? So the perfect kind of love doesn't confine you or define you, but it actually frees you.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so that's kind of like the theme of these statements that I want to make. Love shows up when no one else does. Love is words in action. Love remembers what you care about and responds to how you want to be loved. Love doesn't let you down. Love is always there. Love sits up with you all night long. Love cries with you. Love hugs you when you don't ask for it. Love is still and silent when you just need someone to sit with you. Love goes on the adventure with you. Love waits for you to be ready. Love is ready when you are. Love does the small things in the background that you didn't even ask for. Love pursues you. Love releases you to be as creative as you want to be. Love pushes you to be better than who you were. Love encourages you. Love unwinds the lies. Love comes when we didn't ask. Love asks for ways to say, I love you. Love is an all-consuming fire. Love is the very breath in our lungs, and light in our eyes, and life in our flesh.
That's beautiful.
That's Yahweh's love.
Wow.
Like, that makes me super emotional just reading that because we don't sometimes put into words how much Yahweh loves us. And love is an action. It's not just a bunch of words, it's an action. And Yeshua is that love personified. Here's the other thing I want to read to you is I woke up one morning and I had these words in my mind that started to pour out and I was like, "Oh, I've got to write these down because this is so powerful." And you know, sometimes we think Yahweh's not talking to us, but Yahweh is talking to us all the time. A lot of times we're just not perceiving it because we're so wrapped up in our own mind that we're not listening for what Yahweh has to say. And so when I hear a sentence in my mind that repeats itself more than once, I know I got to get out of bed and go write it down because there's going to be more that's coming. This was spectacular because Yahweh wrote us a poem. And this poem is to everybody. It's not just one person because Yahweh doesn't play favorites. Yeshua is the favorite, and Yeshua is in all of us. So we all are the favorite. So when he says something to one, he's saying it to all of us. So you can choose to take this as words to yourself, just as we can choose to take it as words for ourselves. And anybody who hears this again in the future can choose to take it as words for themselves, because this is what Yahweh thinks and what Yahweh is saying to all of us. So I'm going to read it from the perspective of Yahweh reading it to you. That's how it was portrayed to me, as Yahweh saying, "This is what I want you to know." So hear it from that perspective. That's what I'm trying to tell you is hear it from that perspective of Yahweh talking to you directly. This is titled, What Do I Think About? So in other words, what does Yahweh think about? When I was hanging the stars in the sky and telling the seas where they could go, I was thinking of you. When I was drawing the mountains out of the ground and forming them to hang against the backdrop of the setting sun, I was thinking of you. As I shaped the animals roaming across the ground and hanging the birds in the air and filling the waters with the fishes, I was thinking of you. I reached down and formed you of the dust of the soil. I took time to shape every part of you, from your perfect round face to your strong arms and legs that would grow like timbers of a tree. I gave you perfect eyes that could pierce through the veil and even yet see the smallest bug creeping along the ground and the veins of the leaves of the trees. I crowned you with a covering of flowing hair for your head that would show your stateliness and shade you from the bright noonday heat. I gave you ears to hear the tone of the wild cats, and yet perfect enough to hear my every call. I made you to walk upright and strong, that you could defeat every battle and take your dominion over the earth and all the creation. As your perfect body took shape, I thought, what life will I put in you? How will you know that you are mine? So I breathed my very life into you, sharing my perpetual life with you, that you would be shaped in my likeness, character, and authority. I wrote myself within you so that all of your body, thoughts, and feelings would call out to me and reveal me. I can't think of a better way to tell you that I love you than to show you that I wrote myself all over you and through you. My words are the words of your thoughts. My feelings are your feelings. My love is the love you feel in your heart. When you see the small baby animal and want to cuddle it close to your chest and soothe it from the cold and harsh world, that is my love that is pouring out of you. For all that I created with you and for you, I made those little animals just for you. I chose you before the foundations of the world. I formed every cell of your body and breathed myself into your innermost being. I was thinking of you when I stretched out the covering of the sky. I was thinking of you when I hung the morning stars and the tapestry of the midnight sky. I was thinking of you when I created the sun to give you warmth and light for the day, and the moon to light your path at night. I was thinking of you when I made the clouds to be a garment across the sky, shading you from the heat of the sun and creating shapes for your imagination to run like the wild horses. I was thinking of you when I told the waters how far they could go and no farther. I was thinking of you when I made the dolphins to swim and jump, that you might smile with the cheerfulness I put in your heart. I was thinking of you when I hid the garden in the mountains for you to discover as you explore this world I made just for you. You are so beautiful and perfect that I made you a palace where I could be with you for all of perpetuity. I never want to be separate from you because I love you more than you could realize. I will never leave you nor forsake you because I have grafted myself to you, making us a new creature that has never existed before. I hold you in the palm of my hand as my little child that I will hold forever, and yet at the same time I have put myself into your very being, that you may explore this beautiful place that I have created just for you. And you will never be alone, for I will go with you always. I will tell you what I think about you. I love what you love. My favorite colors are your favorite colors. My favorite smells are your favorite smells. My favorite adventure is the one you go on with me. You are my precious favorite child, and I thought of you when I hung the stars in the sky and told the seas where they could go. I am always thinking of you. You look just like me. I am so proud of you, my precious little one. You are the apple of my eye and my very heart. I made you just the way you are because I love you just the way you are. Perfect, precious, mine. Just like me, full of my life and love and light. You see, you are all I think about. Yahweh. Well, it's really hard for me to read. It's really hard for me to control the emotions when I read that. because I can feel Yahweh's love just pouring through the page.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is what I want to express to you, that as you go about 2026 and you live your life and you're thinking about all the things that you want to do and everything that you want to do and who you want to talk to and where you want to go, know that this is how Yahweh sees you. He loves you so much that you are all he thinks about. Yet we were created in the very image, character, nature of Yahweh himself.
Yes. Wow.
And that is all Yahweh thinks about is you.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to worship Yahweh is to think about him. Because Yahweh is always thinking about us. So the best way to worship Yahweh is to always be thinking about him.
Yes.
So as we
Yes.
move forward this year, run into the safety of truth and express your love. Be freed to express your love for Yahweh and for others.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see your life change.
Yep. And that's the first and second commandment in the New Testament.
Mm-hmm. We know that Yahweh will do many more spectacular and wondrous things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't wait to hear all your testimonies and all the things that Yahweh's doing. And no matter how funny they are, we want to hear them all. because because when we testify of what Yahweh is doing, we're actually bringing the reverence back to Yahweh. And at the same time, we're saying, Yahweh, do it again.
Yep.
Do it again. Do it again. You did it for that person. Now do it for this person.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we do that, the more excited we get because the more worship we can offer to our Yahweh.
Yep.
And so thank you for listening to us. We hope that your conference is amazing and wonderful, and we appreciate this opportunity that you allowed us to speak to you and to share with you what it is that we are currently learning as well.
Yep. So we'll see you next time when you run to the safety of truth.
Hmm.
Bye bye.
Shalom, and we love you.
Shalom.